it's my belief that the older generation spends a lot of time talking about this younger generation doesn't know how to work.
Yeah.
And they put it off as they're too lazy, they're afraid of hard work and all this kind of stuff. But they Hey, welcome back to Coffee with Dwayne and Jesse. I am Dwayne.
I'm Jesse.
All right. Hey, we are going to continue on. If you didn't watch, go watch the previous segment. And I left a cliffhanger, and I said it takes me into this next segment.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with somebody, and I was recounting how there was. I belong to our local Chamber of Commerce, and one of the speakers at an event a year or two ago, he's in one of the bigger construction companies in our region, and he was talking about how housing is like making an upswing. Like there's a great need for more housing in our area. The problem is that there aren't enough people that are coming into those skilled trades to build the houses.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you follow Mike Rowe. And is it Rowe or Rowe?
I think it's Rowe.
See, I think I've heard some people say Rowe. I don't know. But anyway.
The dirty jobs guy.
The dirty jobs guy. But he
Great
also
American.
has, absolutely. But he also does this, he has the Microworks Foundation. And basically his take on things is that people like guidance counselors and parents and school systems really gear students to go into college and get a degree. At the same time, they're going into debt. And that's a whole different conversation. But Mike Rowe is all about what if we got some of these kids to go into these skilled trades. And he does scholarships for vocational training for people who want to go that route. Check out his website. I think it's microworksfoundation.org or something like that. I'll put the link in the description. Check it out. It's good work. Mike's take is that there are too many people getting pushed into college, and not enough that are being pushed into the skilled trades. And that's echoed by the guy that was running this construction company. He's saying that, the older generation of skilled workers are retiring at a faster rate than the newer workers are coming in. And so it's creating this, this situation. So we've got more projects that need done, more houses need built, less people to build them. The wear and tear on some of these older people's bodies, they can't work forever.
Yeah.
They need the younger generation. Anyhow, so I agree with Mike Rowe in that there's a big push towards college and not enough towards the skilled trades. There's not enough energy, I don't think, put into gearing people towards these skilled trades.
Yeah.
However, I believe that there's a different added issue that's causing this decline in young workers. And maybe you've experienced this as a young worker, and you tell me. So most of my career has been spent computer screen or, with a microphone in my hand or, in an office in a chair sitting down. Yeah. But I've had enough blue collar experience with, I was in the Navy. I've had, done line handling. I've busted rust and painted and all of those kinds of things. I've worked construction sites. I've put enough shingles on roofs, and I've done enough window replacements and door replacements, contractor work kind of stuff, painted plenty of interiors. I'm not ignorant to physical labor, hard labor. It's just never been my strong suit. But what I've seen is that when you get younger workers come in to an environment of these skilled trades, there's this thing that happens where these older folks, and when I say older, I don't mean the ones that are ready to retire. I'm saying the ones who've been in the job for a little bit. They like to give grief to the new guy.
Yeah, a little bit of hazing.
A little bit of hazing. And I'm familiar with that. And that was just part of how life is. And so what happens is somebody comes into the workplace and they don't know the difference between a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver.
Yeah.
Or they've experienced like getting yelled at because they grabbed the wrong drill bit, or made fun of because they were afraid to climb the ladder that's going 40 feet into the air.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things. And the problem is that as you know, these are the things that the older generations have experienced. That's what they were raised on. But you get this younger generation that comes in, they've got options. The older generation, there weren't a lot of options. You know, a typical man, when he graduated high school, typical man wasn't going into an office environment.
Right.
There weren't computers around for them to go work on and those kinds of things. Most men were going into some physical, skilled trade. And so it came with the territory. That hazing was just part of the process.
Yeah.
But the younger folks, they have different tolerances. They've got a different sense of humor, and they got options.
Yeah.
They don't have to go that route.
Yeah.
And so it's my belief that the older generation spends a lot of time talking about this younger generation doesn't know how to work.
Yeah.
And they put it off as they're too lazy, they're afraid of hard work and all this kind of stuff, but they haven't taken ownership of the idea in that they haven't invested their time, effort, and energy into teaching some of these younger generation how to work, teach them the differences in the tools, and teach them what a hard day's work looks like, but don't belittle them in the process. Don't make them feel stupid when they make a mistake.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get your take on that as a young person, if I'm off base or if that sounds right.
Yeah. So you're talking to someone who, now I know the difference between a Phillips and a flathead screwdriver. I am scared of going up 40-foot ladders. I don't put shingles on houses.
Right.
You know, I don't, but I also didn't choose to go into construction.
Right.
You know, so it's funny because I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think that it takes self-awareness. I think one of the most lacking skills that we have as a society is self-awareness as the individual, you know, for the older generation to realize, hey, these younger people don't have a frame of reference to understand what I'm talking about. So now I'll take kind of the stance almost I would say adjacent to where you're at, right? You kind of look at the men that are maybe your age, a little bit younger, and there's a constructive, critical kind of light that you're shedding a little bit like, hey, realize these kids don't have a frame of reference. And
right.
So where I would come at as people my age who don't, you know, have that frame of reference, my opinion, toughen up, right? Like me, I can take hazing. If I was to take a construction job, I'm going in knowing I'm ignorant and I'm going to get razzed. And at some point it'll end. At some point I'll be the razzer, right? There's this kind of like I mean, it even happens in professional sports,
right?
You know, even the best rookies that come in that are projected to be the best players in the world, they have rookie hazing,
right?
You know, and there's a line, obviously there's a line where
we're not talking about like college campus hazing where the cops are called in.
Yeah.
Kind of
you know, if you're putting shingles on a roof, hazing isn't pushing the young guy off the roof.
Right. No, I'm talking about, but you're sending somebody on a wild goose chase looking for the left-handed skyhook.
Yeah. And so for me, I see that and I go, that's part of the territory. You just have to, but there is that balance of where is the line drawn, because people do have so many options. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing to look at, because on one hand, lighten up older guys, like lighten up on these kids that don't know what they're doing. And on the other hand, it's like, listen, kids, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to take some crap, toughen up.
Right.
But that's the process.
Well, I agree with that to a point, but what I'm saying is you can't be on one end complaining that they're not flocking to you. Right.
Absolutely.
And then you're not creating an environment that is pleasant for them to come to. These skilled trades, they're called skilled trades for a reason, you know, and you're going to want somebody who knows how to do electrical work and how to do plumbing and how to, build a house that's not going to collapse when the wind blows through, and if you're saying, I have this business and I'm responsible for like a segment of this industry, you can't cry and moan and complain that they're not coming if
Right.
when they do come, you're mistreating them.
Right.
Because they don't
Yeah.
have to. And so there are some that get it, but there are also some that do take well, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Well, you can say that all you want.
Yeah.
But if they're not, then
Yeah.
when you retire, who's going to do your stuff? Because they're not going to be there.
Well, and I think, and then if you just to be devil's advocate here, and then on the other end of it, skilled labor jobs typically get paid skilled labor,
Absolutely.
quantities of money. And so in some respect also, if you want to go in and get paid as a skilled laborer, as a young person, you got to take your bumps to get to the point where you're worth that kind of money in that industry.
Right.
Right. So, I think there's a balance, and I actually think both sides of this are going the opposite direction from one another.
They are.
That's why so many kids are going into college, getting into debt, because they don't want to go through the bumps and the bruises and the hazing. But also when you have that, now the jobs, I think there was a statistic, I'll get the number completely wrong. But there was a statistic I read when I left college, actually, about psychology majors. I was a psychology major. I wanted to be a therapist. Thank God I didn't, because I do not have the level of empathy that I would have needed as a therapist.
Right.
I'd have been like, someone said something to you that you didn't like.
They hurt your feelings.
Get over it, So God knew what he was doing when he pulled me out of that.
Right.
I read a statistic where it was like 70% or 60% of people who have a degree in psychology out of college, an undergrad degree, are working in retail.
Really?
So more people that have degrees in psychology are working in retail than they are in psychology. And I remember reading that and going, why? Well, it's because so many people are flocking away from skilled trades, because college is the only viable option. And now that market is overflooded. The supply and demand has completely went whopper jawed.
That's right.
So what I think is going to happen in the next, certainly in our lifetimes, I think, is people are going to start flocking away from that, and the pendulum is going to swing back to people wanting to go into these skilled trade laborers, and that's going to happen for all of time. I'm just convinced that that's just going to happen.
Yeah. All I know is that when I call and I want an electrician or a plumber to come to the house, I don't want to have to pay $400 an hour.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to happen if there are currently 1 million plumbers, but because of aging out, and the new ones aren't replacing them, there's only 500,000 plumbers, then their rates are going up.
It's a great time to be a plumber.
It's called supply and demand. This is absolutely a perfect time right now to be a plumber or an electrician or one of those other skilled trades.
A window washer.
Window washer.
Listen, it's not even that skilled.
Hey, this has been Coffee with Dwayne and Jesse. I'm Dwayne.
I'm Jesse.
Be well.
Do good. Drink good coffee.